Hey there. Today, we're going to get into a theory that will absolutely change the way you watch the news, scroll through your feed, and even think about your favorite movies. We are talking about Stuart Hall's representation theory. And trust me, by the end of this, you're going to see the world through a whole new lens.
Okay, let's just jump right into it. Look at these two images of a political figure. They're telling very different stories, right? One looks like a powerful, competent leader. The other, well, not so much. So which one is the real one? Which is more accurate? It feels like there should be a simple answer.
Well, here's the thing. That was a bit of a trick question. The question itself is the problem. It assumes that there's one single, true reality out there, just waiting for the media to capture it. But according to Stuart Hall, that's not how the world works at all. And that one little assumption is what we're about to tear down.
You know, most of us tend to think of the media as a mirror, or maybe like a photocopy machine. It just shows us what's happening in the world, and our job is to decide if it's an accurate copy. But what if the media isn't a mirror? What if it's actually the one building the room in the first place?
This right here, this is the huge shift in thinking. The old way of looking at it, on the left, is that reality is fixed and the media just reflects it. But Stuart Hall flipped that completely. He argued that the media doesn't just show us reality, it actually builds it. It creates what things mean. And if that's true, then asking if a representation is accurate kind of misses the whole point. So this is the core of Stuart Hall's incredible work. His big idea is that events, people, things, they don't have any inherent meaning just sitting out there in the world. Meaning has to be made. It's produced. And the factory where that meaning gets made is representation. And hey, don't just take my word for it. Hall himself said that an event has no fixed meaning until it has been represented. Just let that sink in for a second. Representation isn't just a report on what happened. It's the event that gives it meaning in the first place. It's what makes it real for us.
Okay, I know that sounds a little abstract, so let's bring it down to earth. Take Brexit. The facts are just facts, right? There were dates, meetings, votes. But what did Brexit actually mean? Was it about taking back control and national pride? Or was it an act of economic self-harm? That meaning wasn't just hiding in the facts. It was actively built, day by day, by how the media chose to frame it. So if meaning isn't just found, but it's actually created, that leads us to a really, really important question. Who gets to do the creating? Who are the architects of the reality we all live in? Seriously, just pause on that for a second. Who has the power to decide what a war means, what a protest is about, or what a politician stands for? Today, the answer is pretty clear. It's the mass media. They are our society's chief meaning makers. And this is where it gets really personal. Think about a public figure you have a really strong opinion about, someone you love or someone you can't stand. You've probably never met them, right? So where did that powerful feeling come from? It was constructed for you, piece by every news story, every image, every tweet you saw about them. Stuart Hall didn't stop there, though. He took his analysis a step further and asked, okay, so who exactly are these people in charge of the media? And what he found was that, historically, these hegemonic elites, the people who own the networks and run the studios, tended to come from a very, very narrow slice of society. Overwhelmingly, they were wealthy, white, straight men. And naturally, the meanings they created tended to support their own worldview. So, what happens when you have one small, very uniform group of people creating meaning for literally everyone else? Well, one of the biggest side effects is the birth and the constant reinforcement of stereotypes. See, according to Hall, a stereotype isn't just a lazy or mean idea. It's actually a tool. It's a way for the dominant group in society to try and fix a single simple meaning onto a whole group of people. And the way they hammer that meaning into place is just by showing it over and over and over again. For instance, Hall often talked about the representation of ethnic minorities. He pointed out how often Black people, specifically, were reduced to a really narrow range of portrayals, often connected to crime or social problems. Or think about how for the longest time, gay men were almost exclusively represented through this one, very specific, flamboyant stereotype, which completely ignored the diversity of that community. And for women, the dominant representation for decades was in the home, as a mother or a housewife. When you see these super limited portrayals repeated thousands of times, Hall says they start to feel natural. We stop even seeing them as representations. They just feel like common sense, like that's just how those people are. Okay, I know, this is all starting to sound a little bleak. It kind of feels like we're all just passive puppets having our reality created for us. But, and this is a huge but, that is not the end of the story. Because in Hall's theory, you, the audience, have a massively important role to play.
This is easily the most empowering part of this whole idea. You're not just a sponge that has to soak all this up. You actually have the power to question, to challenge, and even to completely reject the meanings that the media is trying to sell you. You can fight back.
So, how do you do that? Well, Hall gave us a simple little toolkit. He called it interrogating the text. It really just means asking 3 basic questions whenever you consume any piece of media. 1. Who made this? Who owns this company? 2. What's their agenda here? Are they trying to sell me a product or an idea? And 3, the big one, who benefits if I believe this representation is true? And that's really what we want to leave you with. From this moment on, when you're watching a show or reading an article or scrolling online, try to change the question you ask. Don't just ask, is this true? Instead, ask a much deeper, much more powerful question. What meaning is being created for me right now? Because when you start asking that, you stop being a passive consumer and you start taking back control of your own reality.